Welcome back to another day. After our long night last night, I have chosen to take the easy route today for a video and do something just quick. It is going to be all talking based, so those of you that don't like that, I do apologize, but I have other things I need to do today to be able to get caught up. We just touched base on the last video about electronic steering, and I know I never really actually touched base on it. I did make a post, but I never got a chance to actually break down what it is and how it worked and what we used. Therefore, I'm going to go over that today. So right here I have my barn find, my 16 STI Hyper Blue. I've had this thing for 6 years. You guys may or may not know this car on the channel, but it does not have a setup in it right now. As those of you already know, this car and my actual race car VA that's in the other shop share setups most of the time. So this did share some parts from it. Obviously this had a different turbo kit once upon a time, and then once it became race season, I chose to take the safer route and put it back into my race car that has its cage and safety equipment, whereas this car does not have any of that. So going over this, this is all about electronic power steering. This is a really good mod for you guys on anything STI based. Now keep in mind, this is going to be a little bit more limit sum to the 08 to 21. I think Justin might be able to let me know subframe the same in 08 to 14. So there's your man. You're about to, I guess you won't sell all the subframes because you don't got no WRX ones.
Josh took my only one.
Damn, it's been great though. She's been doing good. So that answers that for you guys. The older gen 02 to 07 does have a different subframe, obviously, and they have actual different mounts for the steering rack. The WRX is a completely different way of mounting than an STI. I know you can put the 15 STI steering rack into the older gen 02 to 07s with some modifications, but this one does have its own mounting tabs. Now you can definitely make it work if you are close to a fabrication or you do your own fabrication. You can definitely make it work. I've seen it done. It's kind of a newer thing. The nice thing of doing the electronic power steering is going to be, one, you get cleaned up space in the engine bay. Two, you eliminate obviously the power steering leaks and issues these cars have with their power steering systems. Three, I like the feel of the electronic power steering after having it in here. I mean, it was phenomenal. Acts like factory, everything works like factory. It is CAN bus related, so that's what I'm going to go over with today. So what we have here, this was a 2019, if I remember right, Justin?
2015.
No, it was newer.
The racks, 2015.
No.
Yes.
We did a newer one, 2018.
No, we did not.
2015 has a standalone controller, remember?
Oh, it's 2018 plus, my bad.
So there is a year on these that does not have a controller. I think it was 2018 is when it started. It's 2017 or 2018, but I know this one is a 2018 and newer. And what I mean by that, they don't have like imagine a transmission controller, right? So this just has a simple power ground and some CAN bus wires. So I'm going to go over that with you. So if you are looking to do this, that's what I would personally recommend, is to pick up 18 and newer. You will be able to notice pretty quickly off the plugs, which I'm about to show you. This one is a bit more OEM other than the wiring you obviously see here, because we were testing and I never actually fully put it up and covered everything up because I just wanted to make sure it worked. But this one's a little bit more to the extent because this does reside in the chassis harness. So let's start out here. We have 18 WRX subframe, which those are the same 15 to 21. Pretty easy to come by. We have their electronic steering rack. No modifications were needed to that or the outer tie rods to be able to go into this. Now 08 to 14, you might have a little bit, but I doubt it, since you do have some give or take on those tie rods. That just bolts in. Now you're going to notice on here, obviously these cars don't have an up pipe or you know, a turbo that sits back here. They have a turbo that sits on the bottom. This car had a pretty large up pipe. You can see here the cutout for it. This was done by me. I'm by no means a fabricator or a great one at it, but it works. And this was after it was already in the car, so it definitely was a little bit more of a pain in the ass. Had I done this when the motor was out and it was at fabrication, they definitely could build this up and make a nicer point here. But the takeaway from this is all the structural integrity under there is still there. It's just simply this upper portion here cut and then the lower portion bent down to be out of the way. Like I said, you can definitely do cleaner routes about that. You are going to have to do something there if you have an out pipe or factory location turbo, rotated kit, so forth. Now if you had like a headlight mount setup that had nothing going up there, you're not going to have to modify it. But for the majority of guys, you're going to have to modify your subframe in some way to get the up pipe there. Now moving along to the wiring, like I said, some of this was tied into the chassis harness. One of those is going to be the actual main power wire, which you can definitely replace and do exterior wise. That way you don't have to buy a WRX chassis harness. I think they're still not very expensive. I think they're about 250 bucks, 300 bucks.
On eBay, they're a lot.
Really? I thought they're, when I was looking at 500 bucks for a power wire,
Well,
I'm out.
Well, no, they charge you for the whole hole.
I know, the whole bulkhead, but I'm talking about all we need is a power wire.
Yeah.
You can buy some of the stuff at the dealer too. Keep that in mind. This is going to be the most important thing. We have a direct power source to our positive terminal, and then this fusible connector here. Very simple. You can buy this set up at the dealer. I think it's like 25 bucks or 30 bucks for that fitting there, and I think the fuse is something about the same. Not anything crazy. Just simply goes on the battery, and then you're going to want to run a power wire, which comes off the side right here. This looks similar to like an 8-gauge wire there, and that 8-gauge wire will come across, and then we'll have a connector. Now this is where it was nice, because I had a donor car, so mine is literally plug and play right here, and you have power and ground. So with this connector there being plug and play, they have their ground wire goes to the chassis, your power wire goes to your fusible link right there. Super simple. So power and ground, that's it. You're done with the main power to the rack. Off of it, we have a 3-pin connector here. You could change this to Deutsch connector or anything you want. That would be really easy, so you don't need a harness. Coming off here, we have can high and can low, and then we have a switch 12 volt source. These are really easy. Coming from my days, obviously some of you guys know I used to do car toys, so I used to do remote starts and alarm installs and so forth, so I was pretty familiar with can high and can low. Those I connected into the OBD2 port inside of the car, and just as simple as strip the wiring back, twist it around there, solder it. Some people might have different ways. You could just do a T connector on it, but end of the day, it is CAN bus. I would recommend soldering it. It's not exterior in the engine where you have a bunch of heat or vibration. You know, depending on where you put it in the car, obviously there's gonna be some vibration, but solder works. That's what we used to do for alarm installs. So simple on your OBD2 port. If you look up, there's pinouts everywhere. Very easy, because a lot of people are using these for alarms, but you have a can high, can low. And if I recall, do you remember, I don't remember the colors, which one was can high and which one's can low. I'll have to take a look, but end of the day, it goes can high, can low. And then we have a switch 12 volt, which obviously you just put in the fuse box to a switch 12 volt. And what happens there is the CAN system talks to the steering rack, and it gives you steering angle, DCD, wheel speed, ABS, so forth, to numb the feeling of the electronic rack. So it changes it per speed and load, and obviously ABS, but it works completely factory, guys. Very simple to install. Something that's really a good addition, especially for the cars that we're talking about with putting a mechanical fuel pump, because on a mechanical fuel pump it mounts where our power steering is. So that's originally why I did it to this car, because it had no power steering, and that was hell. That was not fun to drive. That thing sucked. It was, you know, if you had a non-power steering rack, they are easier to drive than a looped power steering rack with nothing assisting it. The electronic rack doesn't do that great without being power hooked up. You can ask Remy. And my wrist that I almost died with, because it doesn't have a centering point in the rack. So without having any kind of control or power hooked up, the rack's not centered. So it creates a scenario where under power the car will go left or right. This car, when it was not hooked up, I definitely had those issues. One main thing as well when you install this is to get an alignment, guys, because these things do matter off a steering angle. Steering angle means everything. I did have a couple codes, if I recall, I think some DCD stuff when it was not aligned. Once I got it aligned and got the steering angle stuff done, there is no codes, nothing. It worked like factory. So just wanted to walk that through with you guys, because it was relatable to our last video with Jeff's car on the dyno and us talking about putting a mechanical fuel pump on it and going to electronic power steering. I know there's a lot of questions about this online on how to install it. I've never done like a how-to video. So this lays out all the information you would need. Very simple to install. I was doubtful myself that it was gonna work. The moment that we did get it to work, I would never want anything else. Justin's like, nah.
It works great.
So I'm at that point right now, which you might see in the Forester, where I really would like to put it in the Forester. I'm curious how it would work with the can high and can low stuff, being that I am planning on doing a Haltech in it, which the Haltech can put out a can signal. So I'm gonna probably play with that a little bit, but it does require fabrication. If I do that, I will show you guys. But I want to do a mechanical fuel pump on there, but I don't want to lose power steering because this shit sucks to drive without power steering. It was terrible. Like 2 hands going down a corner at 30 miles an hour. It was not enjoyable. Yeah, you remember the twitch. We about died multiple times in that thing.
It likes to twitch.
So you guys will probably notice there is an Evo on the left. There's some things that got to get done. I previously tuned this car for Bo, put it back on the dyno, verified everything. He was having some hiccups in the mid-range, which seems to be an injector after sitting on E85 is staying stuck open or inconsistent, where it's going like 9s in the mid-range. So I'm going to pull the injectors out, get those flow tested and clean, and then underneath we have an oil leak coming out of the timing cover, so that's going to come apart. I'm not sure if I'll be showing this on camera or not, but just wanted to go ahead and create a video today. It was a little bit easier after yesterday because I'm beat after yesterday trying to get these daily uploads out and be able to have time to do everything. It definitely is rough, but I hope you guys are enjoying Vlogmas this year. Hope you're enjoying the content. I think this year is a little bit more relatable to an extent up until now with the Forester, and then it's a little bit more broad content. It's not just the same thing every day. So I'm gonna get back to work. I got a lot to do today. This video will go up and you guys will have to wait to see tomorrow for what we picked to record.
About tomorrow, I'm just living in the moment, the moment, the moment. Full tank of gas and 200 on the dash, bitch, I'm zoning, fast lane. Living life up in the fast lane. Hey. Living life up in the fast lane. And I ain't slowing down, Living life up in the fast lane. Pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground. Living